The moonlight fell like silver rain over the blood-soaked forest floor, illuminating the bodies of the wolves who had come to claim my life. Their eyes, once burning with hatred and hunger, now stared empty into the endless night. I stood frozen, my breath catching in my throat, as the figure before me turned slowly, his massive frame silhouetted against the pale glow of the moon. His claws dripped crimson. His chest heaved with the aftermath of violence. And his eyes, those impossibly deep amber eyes, locked onto mine with an intensity that made the world fall silent. "You," he said, his voice a low rumble that seemed to vibrate through the earth itself. "You are mine to claim. I should have been terrified. I should have run. But something in his gaze held me captive, something ancient and inevitable, as if the stars themselves had written this moment into existence long before either of us drew breath. My name is Alara, daughter of the Moon Court, keeper of the old magic. I'm the last surviving heir to a throne built on secrets and shadows. For years, I had hidden among mortals, concealing my power beneath cloaks of ordinary life, because the prophecy that marked my birth also painted a target on my soul. They said I would either save our kind or destroy them. They said my blood held the key to breaking the ancient curse that bound the wolf clans to endless war. And so they hunted me. But tonight, something had changed. Tonight, the Alpha Lord himself had descended from his fortress in the northern mountains, cutting through an entire pack of assassins as if they were nothing more than shadows in his path. Lord Kale, the name whispered through our world like a prayer and a warning. He was the strongest of all alphas, a creature of myth and nightmare, who had ruled his territory for over 2 centuries without mercy or weakness. They said he had no heart. They said he had forsaken all emotion after the death of his mate centuries ago. They said he was more beast than man. Yet here he stood, blood still fresh on his hands, declaring me his with a conviction that shattered everything I thought I knew. "I don't belong to anyone," I whispered, finding my voice at last, though it trembled like leaves in winter wind. "I never asked for your protection." A ghost of a smile touched his lips, dangerous and beautiful. "You didn't have to ask. The moment your magic called to mine across the distance, the moment your heart's rhythm matched the pulse of the moon above us, you became mine. Not as a possession, Alara of the Moon Court, but as destiny." He stepped closer, and I could smell the pine and smoke that clung to his skin, mixed with something wild and intoxicating. "They will come for you again, stronger, more numerous. And next time, I might not arrive in time." His hand rose, hovering just beside my face, not touching, asking permission without words. "Let me take you somewhere safe. Let me show you what it means to stop running." I looked into his eyes and saw something I never expected to find in the legendary Alpha Lord. I saw loneliness, a vast, echoing emptiness that mirrored my own. In that moment, I understood that we were both prisoners of our legends, both haunted by destinies we never chose. And perhaps, just perhaps, we could find freedom in each other. "One moon cycle," I said softly. "Give me 1 month to decide if I can trust you." He lowered his hand, his expression unreadable. "I'll give you eternity if that's what you need. But for now, we move. The scent of death draws more predators than you can imagine." He was right, of course. Already, I could feel the stirring of dark magic at the edge of the forest, drawn by the violence that had unfolded here. With a nod, I allowed him to lead me into the shadows, into a world I had spent my entire life avoiding, the world of the wolves, where power and passion ruled in equal measure, where every breath was a battle and every heartbeat a declaration of survival. His fortress emerged from the mountain mist like something from an ancient dream, all stone and starlight, impossible angles and soaring towers that seemed to pierce the very heavens. Inside, warmth enveloped me, and I realized how cold I had been, not just tonight, but for years. A lifetime of hiding had frozen something inside me, and now, in the presence of this dangerous, impossible man, I felt it beginning to thaw. "The guest chambers are prepared," he said, his voice softer now, almost gentle. "You'll find everything you need. Tomorrow we'll talk about protection wards and—" "Why?" I interrupted, turning to face him fully. "Why did you save me?" "You don't know me." "You owe me nothing." For a long moment, he simply looked at me, and in his eyes I saw centuries of pain, loss, and something else, something that looked dangerously like hope. Because 200 years ago, I made a vow to never let an innocent die if I had the power to prevent it. And because ... double quotes, he hesitated, vulnerability flickering across his features. Because when I heard your magic singing across the distance tonight, I felt something I thought died with my mate. I felt purpose. I felt ... alive. The confession hung between us, raw and honest and terrifying in its implications. I wanted to say something, anything, but the words caught in my throat as he turned and walked away, leaving me alone with the thunder of my own heartbeat and the dangerous warmth spreading through my chest. If this moment touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. It helps us bring more stories like this one. The days that followed unfolded like petals of a rare flower, each one revealing something new and unexpected. Kale was nothing like the monster from the legends. Yes, he was powerful. I watched him settle disputes among his pack with a word, watched him command respect with nothing but his presence. But he was also patient, teaching me about wolf politics and ancient alliances with a scholar's mind. He was unexpectedly gentle, never touching me without permission, never pushing beyond the boundaries I set. And slowly, so slowly I barely noticed it happening, those boundaries began to shift. We would walk through his gardens at twilight, and he would tell me stories about the stars, about the old magic that existed before the clans divided, about a time when wolves and mages lived in harmony. I would show him glimpses of my power small things at first, making moonlight dance between my fingers, calling small animals to my side, healing minor wounds with a touch. And I would catch him watching me with an expression that made my breath quicken, something between awe and hunger and tenderness. "You're extraordinary," he told me one evening as we stood on the fortress battlements, watching the sunset paint the world in shades of amber and gold. "Not because of your magic, though that is remarkable, but because of your strength. Most people who have been hunted as you have, who have lost what you've lost, would have let bitterness consume them. But you ... you still believe in beauty. You still find joy in simple things. You still hope." I felt tears prick my eyes, because no one had ever truly seen me before, not like this. "Hope is all I have," I whispered. "If I stop hoping, I stop existing. I become just another ghost haunting the spaces between worlds." He reached out then, his hand covering mine on the stone railing, and the contact sent electricity coursing through my veins. "You could never be a ghost, Alara. You're too vibrant, too alive. You make everything around you brighter just by existing." I turned to him, and the space between us seemed to shrink, the air growing thick with unspoken desire. His eyes dropped to my lips, and I felt my heart stutter, suspended between fear and longing. This was dangerous territory. This was exactly what I had sworn to avoid: attachment, vulnerability, the risk of losing someone I cared about. But when he leaned in slowly, giving me every chance to pull away, I found I didn't want to. I wanted this. I wanted him. Our first kiss was gentle, questioning, a whisper of possibility against my lips. But then something ignited between us, something primal and inevitable, and the kiss deepened, became consuming. His hands tangled in my hair, pulling me closer, and I melted into him, feeling the strength of his body, the wild beat of his heart matching my own. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, his forehead rested against mine. I'm falling for you, he confessed, his voice rough with emotion. I didn't think I could feel this again. I didn't think my heart remembered how. But you've awakened something in me, Alara, something I thought was dead and buried. I'm scared, I admitted, my hands gripping his shirt as if he were the only solid thing in a world spinning out of control. Everything I love gets taken from me. Everyone I let close ends up hurt or worse. Maybe the prophecy is right. Maybe I am meant to destroy. No. He pulled back just enough to look into my eyes, his gaze fierce and unwavering. You are not destruction. You are creation. You are hope given form. And whatever darkness comes for us, we'll face it together. You're not alone anymore. In that moment, I believed him. In that moment, I let myself fall completely, surrendering to the love that had been building between us like a storm gathering strength. We spent that night talking until dawn, sharing our deepest fears and brightest dreams, learning the landscape of each other's souls. And when the sun rose, painting his face in golden light, I knew with absolute certainty that I had found my home, not in a place, but in a person. The following weeks were the happiest of my life. Kale was attentive and passionate, showing me what it meant to be cherished, to be seen, to be loved without conditions or reservations. We would train together in the mornings, his strength matched against my magic, both of us learning, growing, becoming more than we were separately. In the afternoons, he would handle his duties as alpha while I studied the ancient texts in his library, searching for clues about the prophecy and the curse that bound our peoples. And at night we would lose ourselves in each other, our bodies speaking a language older than words, our souls intertwining until I couldn't tell where he ended and I began. But happiness, I had learned, was always temporary for people like us. The warning came on a night when the moon hung full and heavy in the sky, its light almost oppressive in its intensity. I woke to find Kale's side of the bed empty, and when I went searching for him, I found him in his war room, surrounded by his most trusted advisors. The tension in the air was palpable. The council has issued an ultimatum, his second in command was saying, his voice grim. Either you surrender the Moon Court heir for trial, or they will consider it an act of war against all the wolf clans. My blood ran cold. The council, the governing body that supposedly maintained peace among the clans, had found me. Or rather, someone had told them where to find me. Kale's voice was steel and ice. They can consider it whatever they like. I will not hand over an innocent woman to be executed based on a prophecy that may not even be true. My lord, another advisor spoke up, his tone carefully neutral. With respect, is she truly innocent? The prophecy speaks clearly. Her blood will either save us or damn us all. Can we risk the lives of every wolf in existence for one woman? Watch your tongue, Kale growled, his alpha power filling the room, making even the strongest of his warriors flinch. This one woman is mine. She is under my protection, and anyone who suggests otherwise will answer to me personally. Tell me in the comments what part of their story moved you the most. Your words mean more than you know. I stepped into the room then, drawing all eyes to me. He's right to question, I said quietly, my voice steady despite the fear clawing at my insides. I am a risk. I've always been a risk. And I won't let innocent people die because of me. Alara, no. Kale started toward me, but I held up my hand. The prophecy says my blood holds the key to breaking the curse. Maybe the council is right. Maybe I need to surrender myself, let them conduct their trial. Let them do whatever they think is necessary. If there's even a chance that my sacrifice could bring peace. Sacrifice? Kale's voice cracked like a whip. You think I would allow that? You think I could stand by and watch them destroy you? It's not your choice, I said softly, my heart breaking at the agony in his eyes. This is my destiny, Kale. Maybe I've been running from it for too long. He crossed the distance between us in 2 strides, gripping my shoulders, his eyes burning with desperate intensity. Your destiny is here with me. Whatever the prophecy says, whatever the council demands, we'll find another way. Together. Please, Alara, don't give up on us. I wanted to agree. I wanted to fall into his arms and let him protect me from the world. But I had seen the faces of his advisors, seen the doubt and fear lurking there. How long before that doubt turned to resentment? How long before his people began to hate me for putting them all at risk? How long before Cale himself began to regret choosing me over his duty to his pack? I need time to think, I whispered, pulling away from his touch before my resolve crumbled completely. Please, just give me tonight. He let me go, though every line of his body protested it. And I walked away, feeling his eyes on me like brands, knowing that whatever I decided would change everything forever. I spent that night in the highest tower of the fortress, staring at the moon that had always been my companion, my guide, my mother in the absence of my real one. And slowly, a plan began to form in my mind, dangerous, potentially fatal, but perhaps the only way to save everyone I loved. The ancient texts spoke of a ritual, older even than the curse itself, that would allow me to commune directly with the original casters of the prophecy. If I could speak to them, understand the true meaning of the words, perhaps I could find a way to fulfill the prophecy without sacrificing myself or bringing war to Cale's doorstep. But the ritual was forbidden for a reason. It required channeling more magic than any single mage should attempt, and the price of failure was either death or madness. It was a risk I had to take. I gathered what I needed quietly, careful not to alert anyone to my plans. The ritual had to be performed at a place of power, and I knew exactly where to go, the sacred grove, where my mother had taken me as a child, where the veil between worlds was thinnest. It was a 3-day journey on foot, but I didn't dare take a horse. I needed to disappear without a trace, needed to give Cale plausible deniability if the council came calling. I left at dawn while the fortress still slept, leaving only a letter for Cale. My love, by the time you read this, I will be gone. Please don't try to find me. This is something I must do alone, not because I don't trust you, but because I love you too much to let you sacrifice everything for me. You are a great alpha and your people need you. Whatever happens, know that you gave me the greatest gift anyone could. You showed me what it means to be truly loved. You taught me that I am worthy of happiness, of hope, of a future. And even if that future doesn't include me, you will always be the most beautiful chapter of my story. Yours, always and forever, Alara. I was 2 days into my journey when they found me. Not the council's wolves, as I had feared, but something far worse, a pack of rogue alphas, exiled from their clans for crimes too terrible to name, who had somehow learned of the prophecy and decided that if they couldn't have my power, no one would. They surrounded me in a clearing just as the sun began to set, their eyes glowing with malicious intent. I prepared to fight, drawing on every ounce of my magic, knowing I would likely die, but determined to take as many of them with me as possible. But before the first blow could be struck, the air itself seemed to shatter, and a roar of pure fury echoed through the forest. Cale emerged from the shadows like vengeance given form, his alpha power radiating outward in waves that brought even the rogue alphas to their knees, but he didn't stop there. With a savagery I had never witnessed from him before, he tore through them, his rage magnificent and terrible, protecting me with a ferocity that transcended reason or mercy. When it was over, when the last of the rogues lay dead or fleeing into the darkness, he turned to me. His eyes were wild, his chest heaving, blood splattered across his face and clothes. And in his expression, I saw something that broke my heart. Betrayal. You left me, he said, his voice rough and shaking. You promised we would face everything together, and then you left me. I was trying to protect you. I started, but he cut me off. Protect me? Alara, I am the Alpha Lord. I have survived 2 centuries of war, politics, and treachery. I don't need your protection. His voice rose, echoing through the silent forest. What I need is your trust. What I need is for you to believe that I meant every word I said. But I would rather face the entire council, would rather watch my fortress burn, than lose you. Tears streamed down my face as the truth of his words struck home. I had been so focused on saving him from the consequences of loving me that I had never stopped to consider that leaving him might hurt him more than any external threat ever could. I'm sorry, I whispered, the words inadequate but heartfelt. I'm so sorry. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I see now that I was just running again. I've spent so long surviving alone that I forgot how to let someone stand beside me. He closed the distance between us slowly, his anger giving way to something more complex, hurt and love and fear all tangled together. When he pulled me into his arms, I felt him trembling, felt the dampness of his tears against my hair. Don't you understand? He said softly, his voice breaking. You are my second chance. You are proof that even after centuries of darkness, the universe still offers mercy, still offers hope. Losing you would be worse than death, because it would mean losing the only light I found in 200 years of shadow. Held each other as night fell around us, 2 broken souls clinging to each other against the darkness, finding strength in our shared vulnerability. And in that moment, I made a choice not to run, not to sacrifice myself nobly, but to fight. To fight for us, for the future we could build together, for the chance to rewrite destiny itself. The ritual, I told him, explaining everything about the sacred grove and my plan to commune with the ancient casters. But I won't do it alone. I need your strength, Kale. I need your faith. Will you help me? His answer was a kiss that tasted of blood and tears and absolute devotion. Always, until the end of time itself. If you believe love can conquer destiny, tap that like button and join our family beneath the moonlight. The sacred grove was everything my childhood memories promised, and more a place where moonlight pooled like liquid silver, where ancient trees formed a cathedral of living wood, where the boundary between the mortal realm and the realm of spirits grew gossamer thin. Kale stood guard at the edge of the circle I had drawn, his presence a comfort and an anchor as I began the ritual. The words of power flowed from my lips in a language older than the clans themselves, and I felt my magic rising, expanding, reaching beyond the limits of my mortal form. The pain was immediate and excruciating, like being torn apart and reassembled at the cellular level. But I pushed through it, driven by love and desperation in equal measure. And then they appeared, the original casters, spirits of the first mages and wolves who had come together in harmony before the curse, before the division, before fear and prejudice had torn our peoples apart. They were beautiful and terrible, power incarnate, and their voices resonated inside my very bones. Child of the moon, they spoke as one. You have called us across the veil. State your purpose. The prophecy, I gasped out, my body shaking with the effort of maintaining the connection. My blood will save or damn the wolf clans. I need to understand what that means. I need to know how to break the curse without destroying everything. The spirits circled me, their touch like ice and fire. The curse was born of betrayal, they said, when a wolf alpha and a moon mage loved to cross the boundaries of their peoples, and their love was deemed unnatural, wrong. In their grief and rage at being forced apart, they cursed all their descendants' wolves would never know peace, always at war with themselves and others, and mages would never know true power, always hunted and feared. The curse can only be broken by what created it, Understanding struck me like lightning. Love, I whispered. A wolf and a mage, loving each other freely, choosing each other despite everything that would keep them apart. Yes, the spirits confirmed. But more than love. Trust, sacrifice, unity. Your blood holds the key, not because you are special, but because you are willing. Willing to risk everything for peace, willing to love despite the cost. But the breaking requires both willing hearts, both magics combined, both souls surrendered to something greater than themselves. I looked at Kale, saw him watching me with absolute faith, and I knew what I had to do. The ritual, I said to the spirits. Show me how to break the curse. What they revealed was both simpler and more complex than anything I had imagined, a bonding ceremony that would link my magic to Kale's alpha power permanently, creating something new, something unprecedented. We would become two halves of a whole, our destinies forever intertwined, our powers amplifying each other. But the risk was enormous. If one of us died, the other would follow within hours. If one of us turned to darkness, the other would be pulled down as well. We would never again be truly separate beings. I'll do it, Kale said without hesitation, stepping into the circle despite the spirit's warnings. Whatever it takes, Alara. I chose you, and I choose you again, now and always. Tears blurred my vision as the enormity of his commitment hit me. You don't understand. We would be bound forever. My life would be your life, my death your death. You would give up your independence, your autonomy. I would give up my immortality itself if it meant spending one more day with you, he interrupted, taking my hands in his. Don't you see? I've been half alive for 2 centuries, going through the motions of existence without truly living. You made me whole again. And if binding myself to you is what breaks the curse, what brings peace to our peoples, then it's the easiest choice I've ever made. The spirits watched us with something that might have been approval. Then speak the words, children. Unite your essences, and let the curse that has plagued generations finally end. Together, Kale and I spoke the ancient vows, our voices blending into harmony, our magic silver moonlight and golden alpha power spiraling together, creating patterns of breathtaking beauty in the air around us. I felt him entering my soul, felt my essence merging with his, and instead of losing myself, I felt more complete than ever before. We were still individuals, still ourselves, but now we were also something more partners in the truest sense, 2 hearts beating as one. The moment the final words left our lips, power exploded outward from us in a wave that I knew, somehow, reached every Wolf clan and every mage hiding across the world. The curse shattered like glass, its dark energy dissipating into nothing, and in its place, I felt the stirring of old magic, the original harmony that had existed before fear divided us. We collapsed together, the ritual's toll leaving us both exhausted but alive, our hands still intertwined. The spirits faded back into whatever realm they inhabited, but their final words lingered. You have rewritten destiny. Now write the future. The journey back to the fortress took longer than expected, both of us recovering from the ritual's demands. But when we finally arrived, we found it wasn't just Kale's pack waiting for us. Representatives from every major Wolf clan had gathered, along with a delegation of mages who had emerged from hiding, all drawn by the shattering of the curse, all feeling the change that had rippled through our world. The days that followed were intense, filled with negotiations and explanations, with skepticism and hope in equal measure. Some wolves refused to believe the curse was truly broken. Some mages feared it was a trap. But slowly, as they witnessed Kale and me together, saw how our powers complemented rather than opposed each other, minds began to change. Hearts began to open. The council itself was divided, but when Kale stood before them with me at his side and declared his intention to forge a new alliance between wolves and mages, something shifted. The old guard protested, of course, clinging to centuries of prejudice and fear. But the younger generation, tired of endless conflict, rallied to our cause. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks and struggles, moments when it seemed like the fragile peace would crumble. But Kayla and I faced each challenge together, our bond giving us strength, our love a beacon for others to follow. And gradually, beautifully, change took root. Wolves and mages began to work together, sharing knowledge and resources. Mixed communities formed, places where both peoples could live in harmony. And at the center of it all, Kale and I built something unprecedented, not just a fortress, but a true home, a symbol of what was possible when love conquered fear. Standing on our balcony one evening, watching the sunset paint the world in colors that seemed more vibrant than ever before, Kale wrapped his arms around me from behind, his chin resting on my shoulder. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked softly. "Binding yourself to me, giving up the freedom to walk your own path?" I turned in his embrace, cupping his face in my hands, looking into those amber eyes that had become my North Star. "Every path I could have walked would have been empty without you," I said. "You aren't my cage, Kale. You're my wings. And together we've soared higher than I ever dreamed possible." He kissed me then, deep and sweet and full of promise, and I felt through our bond the depth of his love, the certainty of his commitment, the joy he found in our shared life. We had both been broken, both been lost, both been convinced that happiness was something meant for other people. But we had found each other, and in doing so, had found ourselves. The prophecy had said my blood would either save or damn the wolf clans, but it turned out the prophecy was incomplete. My blood, combined with Kale's strength, with our love and trust and willingness to risk everything for each other, didn't just save the wolves, it saved us all. It broke the chains that had bound both our peoples, and it showed everyone watching that love, true love, was stronger than any curse, any prejudice, any fear. Years passed, peaceful and full, each one adding new layers to our story. We had children impossible, beautiful creatures who carried both wolf and mage magic in their veins, symbols of the unity we had fought so hard to achieve. We watched as the world transformed, as old hatreds gave way to new friendships, as the divisions that had once seemed insurmountable became nothing more than memories. But more than any external change, what mattered most was the life we built between us, the quiet mornings waking up beside him, the laughter we shared over simple things, the way he still looked at me decades later, as if I were the most extraordinary thing he had ever seen. The comfort of knowing that no matter what challenges arose, we would face them together, two souls bound by something stronger than magic, stronger than destiny. On the 50th anniversary of the curse breaking, we stood before a gathering of both wolves and mages, our children and grandchildren around us, and we told our story. Not the legend that had already begun to form, polished and perfect, but the truth messy and difficult, full of mistakes and fears and moments of doubt. We told them about the power of choosing love, even when it would be easier to run, about the strength found in vulnerability, about how the greatest magic isn't something you cast, but something you create with another person, day by day, choice by choice. "We didn't save the world because we were special," I said to the crowd, Kale's hand warm in mine. "We saved it because we refused to let fear win, because we chose to believe that something better was possible, and because we found in each other the courage to become who we were always meant to be." Kale squeezed my hand, and through our bond, I felt his love washing over me, as strong and sure as the day we first connected. "You are my destiny," he said softly, "just for me, my heart, my home, my everything. And you are mine," I whispered back, my voice thick with emotion, "until the stars fall from the sky and beyond." As the sun set on that anniversary celebration, painting the world in shades of gold and crimson, I realized that our story wasn't really about breaking a curse or fulfilling a prophecy. It was about two broken people who found each other in the darkness and decided to build a light together. It was about the radical act of choosing love in a world that told us to choose fear. It was about proving that destiny isn't something written in stone, but something we create with every choice, every risk, every moment of courage. And it was about hope, the most powerful magic of all. If this story touched your soul, if you believe in the power of love to transform destinies and break curses, then know that you carry that same magic within you. Your capacity to love, to hope, to choose connection over fear, that is the greatest power in any world, real or imagined. May you find someone who sees you as Kale saw Ilara completely, without reservation, with all your flaws and all your brilliance. And may you have the courage to let them in, to risk everything for the chance at something extraordinary. The moon watches over all of us, after all, and under its light, anything is possible. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Subscribe and stay with us as we explore more stories of love, magic, and the incredible power of the human heart. Until next time, may you walk in moonlight and may love always find you, no matter how lost you might feel. This is just the beginning.